This lesson introduces tables. Tables were added to Excel in the Excel 2007 release. Tables provide a completely new way to work with tabular data and are particularly powerful when dealing with dynamic data. A table is very similar to a range, but incorporates several very useful features. You can freely convert a table to a range or a range to a table. The key difference between ranges and tables is that table references shrink and grow dynamically. Let me show what I mean by that. I'll create a simple range. I'll type month in cell A1 and I'll type sales in the adjacent cell. For the months, I'll start with January and using the autofill feature, I'll add February and March. And I'll put some sales figures in for each month. Now I'm going to create a chart from the range. So I click inside the range, Insert tab on the menu, and I'll go for a pie chart. And you can see that the pie chart is created from the data in the range. Now the problem occurs when I add a value to the range. Let's go for an April sales figure. And you can see that the new sales figure is not shown on the chart. And that's because the chart is continuing to refer to the old range of A1 to B4. I'd have to manually adjust those ranges in order to show the April data on the pie chart. Now this problem would be completely avoided if I based the chart on a table rather than a range, because tables dynamically grow, and ranges can't do that. Had I based the chart on a table rather than a range, the table would have automatically grown and the chart would have automatically included April sales. Later in this course, you'll discover many ways in which tables are superior to ranges when you need to deal with this kind of dynamic data. But for this lesson, we'll look at some of the more simple features. So let's get on with the lesson and explore tables in more detail. For this lesson, you need to open the sample file Inventory 5 from your Sample Files folder. I'm going to now convert this range into a table, and to do that I click anywhere in the range and then click the Insert tab on the ribbon, and in the Tables group I click Table, and the Create Table dialog appears. Notice that because I clicked inside the range before creating the table, the range has been automatically detected as being A1 to G70. Notice also the checkbox, My Table has headers. The header row is row number 1, and you can see that the first row for this range contains range headers. That's the product name, supplier, category, etc. I'm now going to click the OK button, and the range has now been converted to a table. The first thing you notice about the table is that it looks radically different from a range. But that's only because the default formatting makes it so. You'll see later in this session how we can format a table to appear in any way we want it to. The next thing to notice is that filter buttons have been automatically added to the column headers. So if I wanted to filter by category, for example to the category beverages, it would be simple to use the filter buttons to do that. Now I'll demonstrate another feature of a table. If I click inside the table and then scroll down so that the column headers scroll off the screen, you'll notice that in the normal column header row, where you'd expect to see A, B, C, D, E, F, G, you can now see the column headers. This makes tables much easier to work with. The table headers and filter buttons are always visible, as they replace the column letters when scrolled off the screen. But sometimes you'd like to see the letters again, and if you simply click outside the table, you'll see the letters reappear. And when you click inside the table again, the letters are replaced with the column headers. Now let's look at another great feature of tables, the ability to easily add a total row. If I scroll down to the bottom of the table, a common requirement would be to place a total row, in row 71 in this case. To do that with a table, I click inside the table, and in the Table Tools Design tab on the ribbon, I can see that in the Table Style Options group, there's a Total Row option. When I check the Total Row checkbox, you can see that a total appears at the bottom of the rightmost column. Now, by default, that total is the sum. So it's showing me the sum of all of the values. But if I click on the total, a drop-down arrow appears. And by clicking the drop-down arrow, I can change the summation method to anything that I need. Let's change this, for example, to the average. And now let's change it back to the sum again. And if you want to add totals to any of the other columns in a table, you just click in the box underneath them, and using the drop-down arrow, add a total. All that remains for this lesson is to save your work, and I'm going to save with the new name Inventory 6. And as usual, I'll save to the folder above, my sample files folder. I click the Save button, and you've now completed Lesson 1.8, Convert a Range into a Table and Add a Total Row.